All right, hello everyone. This is Miss Paver back for your Unit 2 Week Check 1 Weekly Check Relearning. So first up, we're just going to go over the 3 vocabulary words that we focused on for this particular weekly check. The first one is expression, if my pen will work. Sorry. So the first one is expression, and that is a mathematical phrase. Basically, remember it as numbers and symbols without an equal sign. So expression without an equal sign, no equal sign. Examples of that would include 2x plus 8, a plus 2b, etc. Numbers and symbols with no equal sign. So then the difference between an expression and an equation, remember equation sounds like equal, okay? That's where it has an equal sign. That would be the difference between expression and equation. All right, and then the next thing that we talked about, was, or the last word that we talked about was a variable. Variable. That is a letter or symbol to represent an unknown quantity. Examples are like x, p, m, etc. Okay, so those are the only 3 that we focused on for this week's weekly check. We'll work on the others next week or in the coming couple of weeks. All right, so let's just go over some 2-step equations because that's kind of our big rock this week. I'm just going to go over some of the same problems that we did in class. So remember, step 1 is to add or subtract, and it's always the opposite of what you see. Step 2 is to multiply or divide, and then also opposite of what you see. So you're going to draw your line to keep your math balanced. You are going to subtract 10 from both sides because 10 is our constant. It's what's being added on. Remember that analogy of backpack and lunchbox. The 7 is the backpack. Don't touch it first. If you need to cover it up so that you understand you're not touching that X first, you go for it. And then 10 minus 10 goes away. That's the whole point of doing the opposite. That's how you bring your 7x down. And then you got a math problem over there. That's your first step. 45 minus 10 would be 35. And then your second step is to multiply or divide opposite of what you see. So we've said over and over and over this week, side by side means multiply. So 7x means multiply. So the opposite of multiply would be to divide. Okay? So 7 divided by 7 is x. And then that's how they go away, is because 7 over 7 is 1, so you're left with 1x, and we want to know what 1x is. And then 35 divided by 7 is 5. The best part about equations is that you can double check and know that you are right. So if you're saying x is 5, plug it in. Plug a 5 in. Side by side means multiply. So 7 times 5 is 35. Add your 10. That's going to give you the 45. All right, next one. This is one where we start with a fraction, okay? We're still going to follow the same math, the same rules. So don't touch the variable. You mark that out first, and you see what's with it. It's carrying a -4. So you're going to add 4 on. Got to do the opposite. That's going to go away. And then you've got 6 plus 4 would be 10. And then you can look at what's with your variable. That's what's going to come down. So n over 4. We said a fraction means division. So the opposite of division would be to multiply, so that you've got a 4 on the top and the bottom. And then that's going to leave you with the 1 n you need. And 10 times 4 is 40. And again, plug her in. If you're saying n is 40, it should work when you do your math. 40 over 4 is 10, because 40 divided by 4 is 10. Minus 4 gives you that 6. All right, let's look at a couple with negatives, and then we'll look at word problems and be done. All right, so actually, I think I'm going to do a different problem. Oops. Let's do this one here, okay? This is kind of a tricky problem, because you're not sure where to start when it's backwards, okay? You are still not going to touch what is with the variable. You're not looking at that first. You're looking at what's with it. And what's with it is a positive 12. If there is no sign in front, remember the sign in front goes with the number. So there's no symbol in front of the 12. That means that it's positive, so we're going to have to subtract our 12, okay? Then you can uncover your variable, okay? Subtracting that 12 makes it go away. Now, be careful here. If you have a minus 3m, that minus goes with the 3. So you have to bring down a negative 3. And then negative 6 minus 12, kind of tricky there, is negative 18. And then side by side means multiply. So opposite of multiply is going to be divide. And then negative 18 divided by negative 3 is positive 6. All right, let's look at one word problem, and then we're going to be done, okay? So we kind of talked about your layout for equations word problems. You're always going to have 3 numbers, okay? So where I would start is looking for what it equals. 70 in all, almost always, the big number is going to be what your equation equals, okay? And then your job is to figure out, there's 2 ways we talk to you about this. So if you can at least make one of these work for your brain, it'll be helpful to you, okay? Number 1, you just have to figure out if it's add or subtract, and then which number goes with the variable, okay? So what I do is I read what the variable is talking about. It says, write an equation you can use to find the rental cost for each day. That's what the variable is talking about. So look up at your numbers. Which one is talking about days? That's your 3. So the 3 is going to go with your x. Your 16 is going to be by itself. The other way we talked about that is that the 70 meant money. So your 2 other things also had to mean money, okay? The 16 was already money. That's why it's by itself. And the 3 was days. So in order for that to mean money, it had to be multiplied by the amount per day, okay? And then he's paying for the kayak and he's paying for the waterfall tour. So that would be addition. The way you would know if it was subtraction is like this second one where you're looking at a one-time coupon or you see the word off, okay? Money off means to subtract. So that'll really be the only difference here, okay? All right, that's going to be it for your relearning video. Thank you.